balemwa kati netteeka lino erya UPDF okuyita baalitaddewo nga bakola ki batagetinga Kyagulanyi kati.
On the judiciary, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, has expressed concern at the passing of the bill to allow for civilians to be tried in military courts. The caution by the High Commissioner comes as the public awaits for the President's decision on assenting to the bill, which, among others, broadens the jurisdiction of military courts, authorizing them to try a wide range of offenses against civilians. In a statement, he says, "I am concerned that rather than encouraging efforts to implement the Supreme Court's crystal-clear decision of January this year, Uganda's legislators have voted to reinstate and broaden military courts' jurisdiction to try civilians, which would contravene international human rights law obligations." Turk further asked the President to reject the bill relating to many who say the bill violates Article 92 of the Constitution, which bars retrospective legislation. According to the letter signed by the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, it explains that the trial of civilians by military courts is in principle incompatible with international human rights law, as it raises serious problems in relation to equitable, impartial and independent administration of justice, constant similar to many court rulings which have intimated that the court-martial lacks the tenets of fundamental and human rights. In the same letter expressing concern, the High Commissioner says Parliament's endorsement of the regressive proposals in the amendment bill coincides with the troubling rise in arrests and abductions, harassment and intimidation, as well as torture and other ill treatment of members of the political opposition in the lead up to the presidential and parliamentary elections next year.
Akulira ekibiina ekirwana eddembe ly'abantu mu nsi yonna yawakanyiza etteeka eryayisiddwa ery'okuddira bannayuganda abateeke mu kkooti z'amagye nga etteeka eryo lirinyirira eddembe ly'abantu n'endagaano ezasangibwa wakati wa gavumenti ya Uganda ne gavumenti z'ensi yonna okutalinnya ddembe ly'abantu. Babagenda kye bakola kikyamu nnyo nga tugenda mu kalulu kati mukitegedde. Kati musooke muli statement ya mwogezi wa poliisi mulyoke mukakase lwaki bakwata abantu baffe tebagenda kukola kiti bagenda bawa bailo.
Tuze tubawulira wano nga muwogana ku bya bail ne bond. Gwe bwogwa mu mikono gyaffe obujulizi bwe tuba tubuyina lowoleza mu kadukuluka ka kooti totuwoleza bya bond ne bail. Era ekyo message njagala ngiyiseewo bulungi. Mubba nolinda batulyoke tukukwate otandika okwogera ku human rights. So eno message twagala tugiyiseewo bulungi bwe tukukwata tujja kulaga ekyoko.
Oyo mwogezi wa poliisi lwaki ayogera ekigambo ekyo? Nsooke information eri nsooke ngatte bano wano lumu kansooke ngatte wano lumu. Wano wetulaga njagala owulire bulungi nnyo. Njagala ngatte video zino ziri 3. Bw'omala okuva mu video zino 3 zengenda okugatta, wogenda ekyokkwatira essimu otandike okukola video nga sikusabye sikulagidde okutaasa president ekibiina kya National Platform n'eggwanga zitya. Kitegeeza Dealers Association okuli Mpuuga, Abedi Bwanika, Juliet Kakande, Joyce Bagale Manga, Mbwate Pama Wentebe, n'abala beba mu gathering information bagimuwa naye nga information infu according to what we know. Yensonga lwaki Demapuga yagamba nsaasidde ba foot soldier temumanyi kijja. Waliwo ajjukira information, ajjukira message Mpuga gye yagamba nsaasidde ba foot soldier temumanyi kibadiringa na kimma temumanyi kijja. Njagala nga sinayogera information, njagala omuntu owandika nti yawulira Mpuga agaga nti ba foot soldier basaaside temumanyi kibazanya nakyo. Yakyogera. Yes, yakyogera. Kati kankuzanyire ka video kano owulire gwe kenyini kozesa obwongo bwo owulire.
Now, the moment we are more vigilant, because you remember they were killing by these opposition people. After the election 2021, they wanted to intimidate the country by killing elderly people in Masaka. Did you hear that killing? Where they were killing people with a nyondo? You heard about it in Masaka. We lost about 28 elderly people there. They come without noise, without a gun, they kill somebody with a nyondo. And they thought they were safe because they were not using a gun, because the gun makes noise. So when you kill somebody with a nyondo, people don't hear. But what they forgot was that they were not flying. They were not coming in helicopters. They were walking. And we were able to get all of them, including the members of parliament. Remember this boy who died secondly? The one who Kawenge had been arrested with another one because they were found to be talking to the other, to the ones with the killers. The killers are still there. We got all of them.
Kati tugenda katuna mu forensics agambye nti mujjukire ebyali e Masaka nga batta abakadde after 2021 elections. They were using inyondo butayimbwa neerabire Jambia kuba kesi bagita bijambia najerabira nagamba they thought they can balowooza basobola okudduka oba basobola okubukanga ebinyonyi ne bonna twabafuna mbu bonna baabafuna mu musango gwa Segirinya ne Alani Sewanyana kwaliko abantu bameka tugende nabaga eno video bongo butunogireke ku file ya Sewanyana ne Segirinya kwaliko abantu babiri Segirinya ne Sewanyana tekwaliko balala ne yakugambye nti they caught all of them bali basobola okudduka ompule bulungi nnyo ate bwamaze n'agamba bala bakyaliyo Segirinya amala okufa last week but one baddamu ne bali reactivating file yes Segirinya ne Sewanyana ne bateekako abasajja balo babaali bana mbuno beenyigira mu kutema abantu tokiranga bana basajja tebakyakozesa bwongo bwabwe. At first wakwata Segirinya ne Sewanyana ne bajja mu court nga tekuli bantu balala bonna. Museveni at first Segirinya and Sewanyana, there were only two people who were arrested in the connection of Bijambia in Masaka. But after the death of Segirinya, now you are coming out to say that there are some of those who are still at large. But 1 week and a half back, the file which you are talking about right now was reactivated by the government prosecutor, and you included more 4 people after the death of Segirinya. Why? Because you want to use this file to prolong this file to arrest more people, mostly people who are affiliated or who are national unity platform leaning, because you have nothing else. Mukiwulidde bulungi. Kati abaagala okutegera kyembagamba ku BBS telefina mbega wa Museveni ali ku media atakubulya mulimu gwako nanenga wa iso bino byayogedde gwe bayita lw'omushana bino byayogedde wulira bulungi nnyo. Gatta ebintu by'abasajja mivule ogatte ebintu bya Andrew Mwenda ogatte bya Museveni kati ogenda gattako ebintu byani ebintu bya lw'omushana kati bw'ofuna message eyo yonna then ojja kutegera bano kiki babala kye bagenda okuzzaako.
These gangs zemutalaba wano forget about the muyita foot soldiers zambala uniform zebagenda okudeployinga later, but one of gangs kati zitemula abantu even in Kampala during broad daylight zitemula abantu. Some streets now are no-go zone areas because of those gangs. Ziyingiddemu amajambia, ziyingiddemu ki ate zaabwe zawaki bakyagulanye.
okiwulidde mukulu information gyempa olwaleero lwessa nandibadde nkola program muli Mbulange Mmengo kyenkola wano ngezaako ku exposinga Museveni n'ekijja bwe nva ku oyo kankuzanyira ndu mwenda.
They took people to Kenya. I could go into the details of the lady called Gladys and a certain man called Owino or something, who the radicals in Kenya who were helping them acquire military skills to confront security services. Towards the election of 2021 and after that elections, they had people trained to set off cocktail bombs, to attack petrol stations, to attack different places in order to create instability. You see? So now, you see, you can shake your hand. The moment you don't listen to the other party and where he's coming from, then it becomes difficult for you to bridge the gap. If the two of you are able to talk, you may not change many things fundamentally, but it's always important to understand the perspective from which the other person is coming. So, please understand that Museveni is not necessarily looking at Kyagulanyi and there's a man called Zake, whom he works with, and all these other politicians. I don't want to go into all the names of the activities I've been doing. There's a lot of details about plans and even physical attacks in Kalerwe, in Nansana. There are petrol stations that were attacked and bombed by them. And I'm disinclined to believe that the intelligence organizations are lying. So you remember that the NUP was being organized as a paramilitary organization. You could see the uniforms they were trying, the drills they were trying to do. So it would be wrong for us to assume that the people who run the state are evil people who are only committed to the destruction of the country.
So when you hear the so-called Andrew Mwenda, the M23 spokesperson, the first family spokesperson, the NLM propagandist on social media, including on international media and on some international media houses, coming out using the same statement which have been used by other state agents against NUP and Robert Kyagulanyi Center, then you get to know what they are planning ahead of us. But as usual, we came out to expose. So the reason as to why right now the government is against the European Union delegates, it's because they exposed Museveni's plan of arresting Robert Kyagulanyi Center and burn national platform using the well-concocted blackmail propaganda information linking NUP and Robert Kyagulanyi Center to label activities in Mukono, Kampala, Wakiso, and the other countries. So when you come out, when you keep quiet and you don't talk about these things or expose these people, the public, they will get to use that whatever these people, they telling the world that it's truth. This is not truth. This is propaganda and blackmail. Remember, those who have been following political history in Uganda, Museveni blackmail late Obote. Museveni blackmail Tito Okello-Lutwa. Museveni blackmail late Idi Amin Dada. To the extent that no one came out to defend himself about the blackmail or propaganda against those previous leaders. But right now, via using social media, we can come out and expose and defend our party and our president because we can, because we have access on information. Museveni, what he lacks now is to get to know that we are in .com era, whereby we can intervene and expose and we tell the world that these are lies, concocted information. Because this was the Museveni's weapon since 70s, 80s, and 90s. Museveni has been using these tactics all along because he's a rebel. Rebels, they use rebel tactics to get what they want. Right now, Museveni is using the same old tactics of flaming his opponents that they are rebels. They are fighting against his regime. Forgetting that he's the one who created Connie. He's the one who created Allied Democratic Forces. He's the one who created Alice Lakwena. Is the one who created whatever is taking place in Kampala, Mukono, Wakiso, via using Christopher Damule in ghettos. So the same person is organizing demonstrations to show that the public, that the opposition is demonstrating against his will. So for us, we know what Museveni plans. For us, we know what Museveni is going to do next.
You see, for us, in the NRA, we have a lot of power to do evil, to kill, big capacity to kill people.
The president who is retiring in January, the vice president who had lost the election, the president-elect, all of them called out to the violence and said you must stop. Ghana is not a country where you pray dirty. But in our case, you have, I don't know how many NUP supporters were abducted. You have disruption of all opposition rallies, what we witnessed in the last elections. You have the army all over the place, you know, acting like hooligans, because that's not the army. Our office at Kofi Annan International Center as election observers was next to the military barracks. But I left Ghana without seeing how Ghanaian army looks like. I didn't see any army officer. We only saw policemen in elections. We were passing the army barracks, the army training center. I did not see the uniform of the Ghanaian army. Is that the case in this country? We have been served with hot air in the name of leadership, and it's time for Ugandans to reclaim their country.
All right, so we are going to go into the next election, 2026. Do you see that situation that you think is bad changing?
Well, I can predict that violence will be worse than what we recorded in 2021. I can predict that use of money, election bribery, will be worse than ever. Every element of our bad issues in elections will be worse. And this is the trajectory when you have a president going into 50 years in power. You can see what is happening in Syria. 50 years. And they can only run while they are seeking asylum. Is that the democracy that we seek in this country?
So how do we deal with that problem? Very quickly, if you can share with us your opinion, how do we resolve the situation that you're looking at?
The citizens must be more assertive and they must take back their country.
Well, let's hear from Dr. James.
What's happened then in Ghana? When
dispossession of land. So one so over Jekwitaka. Craze while we daru, while we chirwade chija, ngachataka, to read the taka. I've done research. One, Bakuwe Wav. By the way, Owawe Wurunya. Similar to Vonza, because I know what I used to watch one offer. Because the latest Sazamas in a very more with what? That more chemicals in the Tapina industries as well.
General Tafire told us at the funeral of Adonia Tiberondwa, which I attended personally because we were very close. And he said that the so-called liberators, liberation fighters or whatever it is, used to wear UPC t-shirts. And they were the ones responsible for shooting people along Bombo Luero Road. He said it with his own words. So I think one day the people of Uganda want to know who was responsible for atrocities committed in Luero.
As the top leader of the movement, we humbly
take full responsibility
of all the mistakes made by ourselves, our agents, and representatives. We therefore stand here to repent and ask for your forgiveness and forgiveness of especially the people of Uganda and the whole country. The top leader of the movement, we humbly
take full responsibility
of all the mistakes made by ourselves, our agents, and representatives. We therefore stand here to repent and ask for your forgiveness and forgiveness of especially the people of Uganda and the whole country. For restoration and favor. Lord, restore
the favor that we had with them in the beginning.
Bring healing to their hearts. Soften the hardened hearts and reconnect us to the original vision of our national unity and unwavering commitment to social and economic transformation
of our nation together.
The way we came to them in the